How's it going, guys? I wanted to have a chat with you guys today in relation to something that's really been bugging me of late. And I also wanted to go through a quick match preview for the upcoming game between France and Scotland. And this is something that has really been annoying me since France beat Ireland. And it is something that it seems everybody has gone onto this bandwagon of hating on France ever since they became favorites to win the Six Nations. Throughout the entire Six Nations, we've seen Ireland absolutely boss pretty much everybody. They were on track to becoming Grand Slam winners. They were on track to win the Six Nations for the third time in a row, which would have made history until France derailed their hopes entirely within one game because of their performances throughout the entire championship. So ever since they won, it feels like everybody has turned their backs on France. And you look at the way France are playing, they are playing some of the most attractive attacking rugby around. We look at some of their players that they have. They have some of the most attacking and some of the teams that have the most flair around. But the moment they've won and the moment they became favorites, everybody has now become Scotland fans, or, everybody has become this and that, and all in an effort to see France lose. And I feel that that is unfair on France because we look at the way that they've been playing, we look at the way they have been attacking, the way that, the players that have been used. Yes, a lot of people do not like the whole 7-1 split, which Galtier has begun to adopt, but it's working well for him. And not every single team is able to play that way. Just like Ireland would not fit a 7-1 split, right? They would fit a 5-3 or a 6-2 better. More than not a 5-3, right? The Springboks utilize a 7-1 split. But just because of this, it doesn't necessarily you're going to win. Yes, there are obstacles to it, but we saw Ireland beat South Africa last year with a 5-3 split, right? So the, you know, it's not the end of the world. A lot of people are hating on the 7-1 split because it is effective, but it does not mean it cannot be beaten, right? Galtier, he's using what he has to his advantage and he's using it well, right? But again, it seems like everybody has jumped on the bandwagon to support everyone else, just not to see France win the Six Nations. Now, there are going to be 23 men, French men, walking onto that pitch, but they will not be walking on that pitch alone. They will be walking with a nation, a proud nation behind them, all rooting for them to win. And ultimately, when they do win, and I do feel that they are going to beat Scotland and they are going to take that Six Nations, it is going to feel bliss. And ultimately, it's going to be another trophy on their trophy cabinet, which they deserve. If you look at the squad on paper, ultimately, in terms of trophies, they have underperformed. A team like this is just quite possibly one of the strongest French teams we have ever seen. I think they only have like one trophy, which in the grand scheme of things is not good enough. But this is one more step towards their building. They've got a very young squad. They've got a lot of development to do. And you look at Antoine Dupont, who's quite possibly the greatest player in the world right now. He's 28, 29 years old, something like that. So he is by no means an old player. So he still has many, many more years ahead of him, right? Leading that French side. So it just feels that the French do not get the love that they deserve. And when I say that, I don't say it as in, I don't like every other team and France, France just deserve it because they deserve it. No. I feel that they have earned that right by the rugby that they have been playing, by the performances that have been put out. And yes, I was expecting Ireland to win. I was on the bandwagon for Ireland to win the Six Nations. And honestly, that's what I could see. But ever since France beat Ireland, things change. It does not mean I don't love Irish rugby, because Irish rugby is some of the best rugby you're going to see. It's one of my favorite teams to watch, right? But I'm looking from it from an outside perspective. I do not have a foot in the race here, right? So I am not biased to Ireland, England, Scotland, Wales, France. I am not biased to anyone. I am here for the rugby in its entirety, right? The rugby for what it brings, the flair, the excitement. I am here for the technicality. I am here for, the in depth bits. And you look at them. If this team had to wear England shirt, French shirt, Scottish shirt, Welsh shirt, you would still say that this squad is one of the best teams in the world. They are playing some of the most attractive rugby in the world, right? So I just feel France, they they have earned that right. And honestly, I feel if they continue performing like this up until the 2027 World Cup, they are going to be one of the most dangerous teams to face. Nobody's going to want to play them at all. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But this team is going up against strong, strong Scottish wall of monsters that have some of the best backs in the world, in the likes of Blair Kinghorn, which plays in France. They have the likes of Duhan van der Merwe. They have the likes of Darcy Graham, Tom Jordan, Hugh Jones, Finn Russell. The players that are on show here are ridiculous. And when on form, they're capable of beating any team in the world, whether it's the All Blacks, whether it's the Springboks, does not matter who it is. They have the ability to beat anybody. But can they handle the forwards of France? Can they handle the 7-1 split of France? Yes, a lot of people hate the 7-1 split. Yes, a lot of people are upset that Galtier is using it and using it effectively. But you look at it, the 7-1 split is not for everybody. As an example, Ireland would not fit a 7-1 split. Ireland's style, their depth would not fit a 7-1 split. They are more better worked towards a 5-3 split or a 6-2, right? We saw 7-1 split be beaten when Ireland beat South Africa last year. Things change. Not every team is able to use it. Galtier is getting some ridiculous performances out of it, and they deserve it. But can France handle when players like Julien Marchand, Cyril Baillet come on the 50th, 60th minute and rock up ready to roll? Will they be able to handle that heat that is then on show? Because France is doing that 7-1 split and they have Nolan Le Garec as their final player, as their only back. Now you also got to take into consideration they are without Dupont, their general, their commander. They are without quite possibly the best player in the world, subjectively. But we've seen that what the likes of Lukaku can do. We've seen what the likes of any of these French players can do. We saw the attacking prowess of BLBRA, who's just a monster, and his grubber kicks with his just pure electric pace. Can they handle it? Because if they are able to handle it, and Finn Russell is able to have a strong game, we could potentially see a brilliant, brilliant Scotland side. We could see a side that ends up beating France. But they would need to beat them well. But they need France, they need Finn Russell to be his absolute best. Because, like I always say, Finn Russell is his own worst enemy. If he is having a brilliant game and his mood is good, he is damn near unplayable. But when you get under his head, when you make him stress, when you make him think too hard, too quickly, he starts making mistakes. He becomes flustered. And when he becomes flustered, Scotland start to break down in bits and pieces, right? We look at the bench comparing from France to Scotland. Who has a stronger bench? That's France all day long. All day long. You look at them player for player, quality for quality. How many of those Scottish players would you put in that French squad? Honestly, there wouldn't be many. There would not be many in comparison, player for player. So this is going to be an interesting one because this is rugby. Anything can happen. We can see Scotland come through and put in an absolute performance and end up beating France 41-0 because the margins are so small when you're reaching this high level rugby, when you are reaching the elites of the elites like these teams are. The margins are so small and the margins for error are even smaller because all it takes is one mistake. As Finn Russell knows exactly what I'm talking about in terms of Brex. One mistake can lead to a try. And when you allow France to get one try, you know the second one's coming. And then when they start steamrolling, you know that third and that fourth is going to come. And the next thing you know, you Wales playing France. Nobody wants to be Wales playing France. So a lot can happen in this game. France have every ability to stop the Scotland squad in their tracks and just absolutely put a butt whipping to them. But if they underestimate Scotland, you could see a very different side. So now, like I say, don't get me wrong, this is a little bit of a rant from me in terms of France and me feeling that they are not getting the dues that they deserve because of the rugby that they play. But everywhere I turn, everywhere I go, everybody that I speak to, anybody that was on the fence, anybody that was supporting France before, now they have all of a sudden switched allegiances because they don't want to see France win. They would much rather see someone like Ireland scrape through the win to win the Six Nations. They'd much rather see England scrape through to win the Six Nations than to have the genuine favourites right now, on paper, to win the Six Nations. And I feel that that is wrong, right? The best rugby should win. But again, this is me looking from an outside in, without a foot in the race, without being biased to any specific teams. France deserve to win this Six Nations. No two ways about it. They deserve it. And honestly, I think they will. So in terms of my prediction for the game, I feel that they are going to win by 15 to 20 points. I do believe France are going to get more than 4 tries. And I can see the LBRA getting 2 of those. Now, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Maybe you guys don't agree with me. Maybe you do, in which case, please like and subscribe, as it really does help my channel grow. And I just want to be providing you guys with the best content possible, and I'm not here to BS you guys. I give my opinion, I give it straight, and I give it unbiased. And it will always be that way, whether it's the Springboks playing or not. I look at it objectively. I look at it as a fan, not as someone that has an investment in it. Let me know what you guys think. What are your score predictions? And do you think it's right that everybody's turning their boat for France? So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, and catch you guys in the next one. Bye.